ideas, that kind of thing. And then the alternative explanation is that diversity is not good because it creates inefficiency in terms of communication and so forth. Part of the reason that I suggest that you actually express this not in terms of just that there's a problem in the test, but a theory is one that ultimately you have to be explaining something. So if you do it better methodologically, what exactly are you doing better methodologically? What are you explaining? The second part is that you're still not going to be clear as to what is the cause of why diversity is better or not better in terms of teams, right? So if people theorize and formulate that it's because there are more new ideas, and suppose you find that the diverse teams perform better, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's because of what the explanation that people provide. And so it may be that you've shown evidence of something, but we still don't know why. We still don't know the causal part of the explanation. We just know that diversity is good, and that's important because it frames what you can and you can't say. The other question I have is, okay, so suppose you do this and you find this, to what can you generalize from your finding? So this will tell us what about the fact that diversity on teams is good or not good. To what can you claim that you could now apply in theory?
Well, I think it's in a way quite comparable to what someone sees in, for instance, corporate boards, because they really have to set up their company, and the same processes apply to corporate boards on a much larger or a much smaller scale, I would say. But yeah, I would say that.
Okay, so I would push you a little bit to think about the nature of your sample and what the idea of representativeness of a sample is, right? Because these are young people, right? And this is an exercise, a game, right? And the outcome has to do with this game that they do and the grades and the dropouts. The point of this is that your sample does not actually represent the population of corporate boards, because corporate boards are not made up of students doing something for grades, and so your sample is not actually representative of that. It may be quite representative of other populations that are interesting to explain. For example, it might be quite representative of all team efforts in education, right? Into which case you have a much stronger generalizability because you actually have a sample that represents a broader population, as opposed to the stretch that immediately people would come and say, no, that it's fine and it works in the experimental setting you have, but that doesn't actually represent the population you're trying to generalize to. My last question relates to the outcomes. Why do you expect there to be a correlation between the outcome variables and what if there isn't?